Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we are going to make what I call an easy vanilla ice cream. There are actually two ways to make ice cream. One is with a custard base, and if you go to the joybaking.com website, I have a vanilla ice cream recipe that is made that way. But today we are making what is called a Philadelphia style or New York style, or I just call it a plain vanilla ice cream. There is no cooking involved, it's eggless, and it is so easy to make. It has that creamy flavor and texture of like a soft serve ice cream that you buy. So, really easy here. You need a large bowl, and you want the cream to be cold. You will need 2 cups, which is 480 milliliters of heavy cream, also known as heavy whipping cream, and that's cream with a 35 to 40% butterfat content. So obviously that amount of cream is going to give us that rich and creamy taste. And what I'm also doing is adding 1 cup of cold full fat, or you might know it as whole milk. And the reason I do that, that's 240 milliliters. The reason I add some milk is it's going to lighten the texture of our ice cream, and it's still going to have that really rich, creamy taste, but a little lighter. Could you use all heavy cream? Yes, you could. You might want to make it both ways and see which one you like best. And then, of course, we need sugar. It's for sweetness, and it also gives us a nice smooth flavor to our ice cream. You will need 3/4 of a cup, which is 150 grams. Now you can use just regular granulated white sugar. I'm actually using super fine white sugar because I got the cold cream. The super fine sugar will dissolve a little faster. You could make your own. I wouldn't buy it. You can just take regular granulated white sugar and just put it in your food processor and process it until it's finely ground. But either one will be good. And then I add just 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of salt. I like to use a kosher salt. It's a little milder flavor than, say, your table salt, but either one is good. And just a little salt just helps bring out all the flavors. And then, of course, we're making vanilla ice cream. Now, I want to churn this ice cream immediately. I don't want to chill it down. You know, if you ever made a custard ice cream, you know you have to chill it preferably overnight. If you use vanilla extract, we can just stir everything together and then we can just churn it right away. So I'm using 1.5 teaspoons, which is 6 grams. Now you can use just pure vanilla extract, or what I'm using today is a pure vanilla bean paste. And what I like about that is it's like an extract, but it has the little seeds from the vanilla bean in there, so it kind of makes our ice cream look really good. Now I know people are going to ask, could I use a vanilla bean? Yes, you could. You will need like 1 vanilla bean. The thing is, when you use this, like I said, I'm going to churn my ice cream right away. If you use a vanilla bean, what you're going to have to do is, take your knife, split it open, with the back of your knife, take out the seeds. And then you're going to have to take the milk with the sugar, put it in a saucepan along with the seeds and the pod of your vanilla bean. Heat that up until your sugar dissolves, and then let that, steep for maybe 20 minutes, and then you're going to put it in with your cream. But that means that, you got a hot mixture. You are going to have to chill this for a couple hours. That's all it means. So you can use either one. And then what I'm also adding, now this is a total optional ingredient. I'm adding 2 tablespoons, 12 grams of a powdered dry milk powder. And now, if you were going to make this ice cream and eat it within a couple days, you don't need this ingredient. The reason I'm adding this is I'm going to get it all there, is if you want to freeze this ice cream for like a week, after a while, this ice cream tends to get a little grainy in the freezer. But if you add the dry milk powder, it will prevent that graininess. So, although, tell you the truth, this never lasts a week in the freezer. So, like I said, total optional ingredient. you could try making it both ways and see which way you like. I don't find a lot of difference in the flavor, whether I add it or not, or texture. So all I'm doing here is stirring all this together. And then I'm just going to, like I said, because if your cream is really cold and your milk is really cold, we can churn this in our ice cream machine right away. So I'm just going to clean up. I'm going to get my ice cream machine, and then we're going to churn it. So we are ready to churn our ice cream. So what I like to do is, when the ice cream is made, it's still a little soft, at least with my machine. So what I do while that's churning is I take preferably a metal bowl, and I put that in the freezer to get it nice and cold. And then what I'm going to do is pour my ice cream in there and then freeze it for a little bit. So I'm just going to give this another stir, make sure. Now, of course, there are all different types of ice cream machines, so just read your instructions. In this one, I actually freeze this base, because the important thing when you're making ice cream, if you're using this type, you want your base really cold and you want your mixture really cold, and that way the ice cream your mixture will freeze fairly quickly, and then you will get small ice crystals. Instead of, if this was warm and you put it in there, you'd get large crystals because it would take longer to freeze, and then that would give you more graininess. So just a little science there. So I'm going to put my machine on. This machine, it takes, maybe 25-30 minutes. You churn it as long as your base is still really cold. Once it warms up, there's no sense keeping churning it because it's not going to do anything. So, like I said, I'm just going to let this go for 25-30 minutes, and then we'll have ice cream. So it's been about a half hour, and my base is pretty warm, so I might as well stop. So as you can see, it is still fairly soft. So that is why I put a metal bowl into the freezer. So what I'm going to do is transfer that into the bowl, cover it with plastic wrap, and then let it freeze for probably 2-3 hours, and then it'll get nice and firm. So I've done that ahead of time to show you what happens. I actually made this a couple days ago, and if you freeze this, especially overnight, it's going to get really firm. So typically what I like to do about 15 minutes before I serve my ice cream, I take it out of the freezer and put it into the fridge, and that will soften it, enough so I can scoop. As you can see, so it was about, 15 minutes in my fridge. Very nice. So I'm just going to take one scoop. As you notice, I've already tried it. So now I did this about 2 days ago, and this is still wonderfully, creamy taste, and the texture is really creamy and smooth. If you've ever had like a soft serve ice cream at the store, that's what this tastes like. It is really rich, and it's just wonderful. You have to try this. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.